Did you see what happened? That was fun.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Tuesday, March 18th, 2025, at least for the next 2 minutes anyway, because it's about to be midnight on the East Coast. Welcome into this live postcast edition of the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making this your first listen or watch right after the game goes. I can't quit laughing. This is hilarious. Special shout out to all the everydayers that are joining us, all the great Locked On Tar Heels Discord members, and of course, our great Locked On Tar Heels insiders. This episode is brought to you by Nissan, the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada. Make sure you check it out. Stay with us for the Armada Team of the Week coming up later in this thing. Oh, Lee Smokes, Carolina beat San Diego State 95-68. It was a choose-your-own-score kind of game for the Tar Heels, if we're being honest. Like, San Diego State scored, I think they hit their final 7 field goals as Carolina pulled their starters with 7 to go, as it was a 40-point game. I mean, good grief. The Tar Heels moved to 23-13 on the season. Let me check. Ken Palm hadn't refreshed yet. Let me see if it has now. No, it still has not. So we'll continue to look at that as we go. But my word, you all, like I'm befuddled. This is phenomenal. So this is definitely not a therapy session, although I might need therapy because I've been laughing so hysterically for the last 2 hours. Up next, by the way, Ole Miss coming up on Friday, 4:05 Eastern on TNT. That game will be in Milwaukee, just about a 6 hours drive from Dayton, so not too bad. It'll be a short plane flight for the Tar Heels. If you're new with us on the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, welcome in. We're so glad you're here. If you're watching, welcome in real time. If you're listening back later, yeah, what's up to you guys as well. The comments are already piling in. If you want to leave some questions or observations, we'll get to those later in the show. We'll look at nitty gritty. We'll look big picture and everything in between. It's fun. So I had said on Twitter earlier today that the outcome of this game needed to be held independent of whether Carolina's inclusion in the tournament was warranted or not. Now, you know, I think we probably all believe it was, and that people make a big deal out of the quad one stuff and not making enough deal out of the other metrics. Whatever, fine. I think if Carolina had lost, it would not be grounds to say, see, you shouldn't have had them in. And I don't think by Carolina winning, it's like, oh, clearly they should have been in. It's just like, A, Carolina should have been in. B, they proved you why they should have been in. But I can look at both of those things separately and say that their resume told you they should be in, and tonight's eye test clearly showed you that they should be in. What a dominant performance against the San Diego State defense. That, let me tell you about them as we get into our show. San Diego State came into this game first in the nation in field goal percentage, 14th in the nation in points per game allowed, and having not allowed any opponent to score more than 80 points. Well, field goal percentage defense, 37.8. The Tar Heels just shot 52.6% from the field. Not just beyond the arc, from the field. San Diego State allows just 63.6 points a game. The Tar Heels got their 64th point with 13 minutes and 26 seconds left to go in this game. San Diego State, the most points they had allowed all year was 80. Carolina hit 82 on RJ Davis's 6-3 with 7 minutes and 31 seconds left. Carolina could have named their score, but they called off the Dogs half a minute later, and that was that. Carolina drops in 95. This game only looks respectable, which is funny considering what the final tally was, because they called off the Dogs and let all, it's like, fine, whatever, do what you want to do. Oh my. We come into this game against this defense, and I got to say, I was very concerned because against defenses of San Diego State's ilk and caliber, this season Carolina has often resorted to stagnated defense. Think about how the defense, stagnated offense. Think about how the offense has looked at times in the 3 Duke games, the first game in particular, where it was just like they felt inept. The defense was swarming and long, and Carolina couldn't move the ball and couldn't take care of things. And then this game started, and Carolina turned the ball over 6 times in the first, was it 4.5 or 5.5 minutes? 5-ish minutes of the game. 6 turnovers in that span. It's like, here we go again. Carolina's going to turn the ball over. They're going to be careless. And then they're just going to have to play iso ball one-on-one, and it's not going to go well. But then all of a sudden, it just flipped. Now, Carolina was already shooting well. Let me be fair. At that point, the Tar Heels were already shooting very well in this game. But one of the markers to me of, are you moving the ball well, is assist numbers and assist percentage in particular. Carolina finishes this game with 17 assists on 30 made field goals, which is an assist percentage of 56.7%. And again, that's with the starters coming out with 7 minutes to go. Like, it could have continued to grow. Carolina did a marvelous job in this game of not letting a ball hawking, we want to mess things up and get our hands in passing lanes defense overwhelm them. Part of that for me was, I said on today's show, one of my 4 corners preview points was that the Tar Heels needed to attack, and in particular needed to attack Magoon Gwath, their big man, their freshman who blocks 2.5 shots a game, that was coming back from injury. He started this game. And one of the things I was looking for was Carolina to go at him and at the rest of this defense and say, screw it, we're going to move the ball well, we're going to move ourselves well, and we're going to get to the rim, and we're going to knock down our shots. And that's exactly what Carolina did. Gwath, I was curious to see how effective he would be, both because of his knee injury he had suffered, or if Carolina could get him in foul trouble. Well, he picks up his second foul with more than half of the first half remaining. He did come back in the first half, but Carolina rendered him not able to do it. And look, he still got 9 points, 5 rebounds, but that's not much. He did block 2 shots, altered a few others, but nothing otherworldly that I was worried about. Phenomenal stuff from Carolina on offense. We're not even getting to the defense yet, but oh baby, we will. Just believe you me. There were a couple possessions in particular where I thought Carolina moved it well, one in each half. In the first half, there was a play. Who rebounded the basketball? I want to say it was Ven-Allen Lubin that got the rebound, if I'm remembering correctly. Pitched ahead to Elliott, who threw a nice pass ahead to RJ for the finish. Nice layup, got out ahead of everybody. And then the one in the second half, I thought this was even more impressive, and for a couple different reasons. Carolina's up 64-36 at this point. So what is that? 28 points, 12 minutes to go. And at that point, you could just say, yeah, let's just take it easy, pull off the gas. Man, I loved that the Tar Heels were in go mode. Like, step on the throat, step on the gas, do not let up. That's the killer mentality that I love to see. Seth gets a rebound, pitches ahead to Ian Jackson, who had a nice bounce pass to the left to Elliott as they're running the break. Elliott throws it back up to Ian, who just couldn't quite finish the alley, got hung on the rim. But what was beautiful, so that alone, that attack was beautiful. But what I love, who got the rebound on the other end of the court? Seth Trimble. When Ian got stonewalled on the rim, who was there to clean it up and get the putback? Seth Trimble. Did not sit there and watch that play develop. Took his butt off down the floor and finished. That is leadership. That is Seth Trimble doing what he needs to do, man. I absolutely love that. I often talk about who's going to dictate the terms of engagement, and it was Carolina in this game. It was like everything I heard about coming into this game. Oh, Isaac, you're underestimating San Diego State. They're big and tough and physical, and Carolina can't match that. Bull crap. You just saw what this team did, man. They were all over San Diego State. Carolina dictated this thing. They were the aggressors in this game, and I don't want to hear anything otherwise. This was no wine and cheese Tar Heels. We know that they have this in them. They've got the dog in them, and they showed it in this game. And man, Seth Trimble continues to be that guy to me. That Carolina has needed leadership all season long. We've talked about it, not having a Cormac Ryan, not having I'll just use Cormac as the example of that. Like, But Seth, I've said multiple times. Harrison Ingram is who I was trying to think of. I've said multiple times, I think Seth can step into that role. And man, his tough-nosed everythingness on both ends of the floor is a clear indicator of that, and I love it. Now, to this point, we've been talking about Carolina's offense. But you heard Seth Trimble say it at halftime as he was interviewing with John Rothstein, which I think is hilarious that Rothstein had to be out there. So good, man. Seth said, though, it was our defense that dictated what everything hinged on there in the first half. So that's what I want to get to next. Plus, man, what a great opportunity at redemption for these guys. And also, you see what happens when Elliot Cadeau plays a good basketball game? It changes the ceiling. We'll talk about that and more coming up in just a second. Right after I'll tell you about Nissan. The Armada Team of the Week is brought to you by our good friends at Nissan and the all-new 2025 Armada. Each week, the Locked On College basketball experts, that's me and my co-host Andy Patton, are picking one team that stands apart. From top-seeded stars to the unexpected upsets, these guys showcase the strength and sheer power needed to push their team forward. This week's Armada and clear-cut team of the week is the Florida Gators. The Gators, led by Walter Clayton, 17 points a game, just dominated the SEC tournament, winning each game by at least 9 points. Not only did they get that fourth one seed, but they're the nation's most efficient offense. When it comes to the Nissan Armada, they say go forth and conquer, and that's exactly what the Gators have done here. It's clear that our team of the week is out here ready to conquer the road ahead with confidence, just like you can in the all-new Nissan Armada or any of Nissan's outstanding vehicles. Take the Armada, Rogue, or Pathfinder and go find your next big adventure. Check it all out at nissanusa.com. All right, we're pulling up the box score now as we continue on in this game so you can take a nice little look at that thing. By the way, one other thing I want to say about San Diego State, I cannot stand it when teams that play physical and like Florida State and that are hand checking all the time, and then they got all incensed when you call a foul on them. Like, how dare you call that on me, sir? I only got a little bit of his arm. Get out of here with that. Like Brian Dutcher was complaining about the first foul shots of the game where Seth comes up and under, and the guy pulls his arm down, and Brian Dutcher's what are we doing, man? Your team just got dominated. Shut up and go back to San Diego. I can't handle that, man. Okay. Let's say a couple things about Carolina's defense. First off, coming into this game, in our previews for this game, I had talked about, look, San Diego State's San Diego State's defense is really strong, but their offense is really bad. By the way, Ken Pom did just refresh. I'm looking at it again. The Tar Heels have moved up to 30th now at Ken Pom. That is the highest they've been at Ken Pom since leading into the Stanford game. We know how that went. Anyway, Carolina's in there playing. We'll take it. Whatever. And now they're 19th in offensive efficiency. Boy, that's phenomenal. As for San Diego State, their offense came into this game like 111th at Ken Pom in offensive efficiency, while their defense, even after the loss, is 15th in defensive efficiency. That's what Carolina just did. San Diego State's offense is atrocious. Let's just get that out there. I mean, they just looked inept. Some of that is them, but some of that is Carolina's defense was locked in and connected. They were communicating. They were switching well. They were helping baseline. Hands out in passing lanes. They were opportune with San Diego State's ineptitude again. Like sometimes they would just throw the ball straight to a Tar Heel. Carolina took advantage. We'll take it. We'll take that all day, every day. But this combination of Carolina's offense and Carolina's defense at this level, who's going to beat them? I mean, maybe Duke, maybe Auburn, if you could get to that point, which would that be Elite 8 or Sweet 16? I got to look back at the bracket. I'm not thinking here in real time. Anyway, it doesn't matter right now. I'm just saying, with what Carolina's combination of offense and defense was in this game, yeah, Carolina wouldn't have to face Auburn until the Elite 8 with a shot to go to the Final Four. Who they would play before that? Man, Ole Miss obviously coming up Friday, then potentially Iowa State in the second round, who's without their leading scorer. Then if the seeds hold, maybe a rematch with Michigan State. Boy, I'd love another crack at those dudes. Carolina should have beaten them. This Carolina team dominates Michigan State. You could legitimately, man, there's so many Maui teams in this bracket. I just realized that. Auburn, Carolina, Iowa State, Michigan State. That's half the Maui field right there. Carolina could get payback against both Michigan State and I'm getting way ahead of myself. I just got giddy about that possibility. Man, Carolina, they stay locked in like this. It's phenomenal. Here's what's interesting to me about what just happened. I said after the Duke game on Friday, if Carolina was even remotely themselves, either from the 3-point line or the free throw line, they would have beaten Duke in that basketball game comfortably. But they didn't. Obviously, they didn't. But tonight, it was the exact opposite of that, the exact flip of that. Carolina finishes the game from beyond the arc, 58%, 14 out of 24. From the free throw line, they go 21 of 24. And I know they were 12 for 12 at halftime. All of it, by the way, it was 6 from Ven-Allen Lubin, 6 for Seth Trimble, which good for Ven, man, for making up for missing against Duke. You would have loved to have got that win, but I just love the rebound. I love that. So I think Carolina hit their first 13 because they hit 12 for 12 in the first half. And then who had I think Drake was the one that got fouled on the run out when they had the intentional foul. Hit the first, missed the second. So I think Carolina hit their first 13 straight free throws before that miss. Speaking of which, coming out of halftime, what Carolina really did so well is, I mean, they already had this massive lead by the time we even got to the half. And you wonder, like, are you going to stretch this thing out in the second half? I mean, again, Carolina led by 24 at the first half, the second largest margin a Brian Dutcher team at San Diego State has ever faced at halftime. And Carolina starts the second half on a 7-0 run, 6-0 run. RJ missed that last free throw when he had 3. That's what you want to do. You're already up by more than 20. Come out and dominate the beginning of the second half. Just make them ready to go home, pack up, and be done for the season. That's what the Tar Heels did. I want to now look at some individuals and how they did. And we got to start nowhere else than the two guys, I guess, really, that go home if this game doesn't go well. The first of which, RJ Davis. I mean, my goodness. Homie pours in 26 points, 8 of 12 from the field, and a perfect 6 of 6 from beyond the arc. 4 of 5 at the free throw line. I mentioned that one he just missed. Didn't have a single rebound, I'm just noticing, but had 2 assists, 2 turnovers, and was plus 25 in only 28. He had played the most for Carolina, 28 minutes. No Tar Heels played 30 or more minutes in this game. That's perfect. You need that before Friday. But 6 of 6 from beyond the arc. RJ Davis, my man. Look at what you're doing. But Jalen Withers coming back from that, you just gutted for him, man. And the vitriol that he had to encounter Friday night and beyond, I cannot fathom. I just want to go back again to how grateful I am to Hubert Davis for standing by his player. Like, Jalen Withers is going to remember that free throw lane violation for the rest of his life. But I hope bigger than that, he remembers his head coach standing by his side for the rest of his life. And that neither of those two things are separated from one another, because that's what we do for each other. Whether you're a Tar Heel or whether you're just a human, that's how we take care of people when they're down. I hope that's a lesson we all learn. Jay Witt in this game responds with a double-double. 10 points, hit 2 threes, perfect from the free throw line, 10 boards. And I felt that. In the first half, I was like, I feel like Jay Witt's gobbling up a bunch of boards here. And he was. Let me look at the total rebounding for this game. 39-28. Carolina leads by plus 11 on the glass. We will absolutely take that. So love that these two guys who go out, if they lose this game, are done, show up in a big way. That's important. But another guy who continues to show up, I mean, just again and again and again, is Ven-Allen Lubin. Another double-figure scoring game, 12 points in this one, 2 of 3 from the field. And here's what I love, man. Ven-Allen Lubin, who had a chance to step to the free throw line and potentially deliver a victory over Duke on Friday night if he made them both. Even still, Duke had time to come down and make a shot, so it wasn't guaranteed. Missed the first, made the second, but it didn't count. Goes 8 of 8 at the stripe tonight. That's just, I love that, man. What a cool story that is. Way to go, Ven-Allen Lubin. Doesn't have his 4th straight double-double, only got 4 rebounds, but Carolina didn't need it. They just didn't need it. But they did have good balance in rebounding, and we'll take that too. Here's somebody you might have missed that did really well. I talked about Seth. Let's recognize, and I've had some conversations with people about this lately. Seth's shot's just off right now. It is. Whether from beyond the arc or in close, he's just not shooting well right now, like as a jump shooter. But his athleticism is so next level that even though he can't really hit a shot right now, he's getting to the rim at will and finishing or cleaning up other people's messes, as we talked about earlier. And when he's not finishing, he's getting fouled. Went to the free throw line 3 times in this game. Perfect 6 of 6 at the line. 5 of 10 from the field. 16 points. 3 rebounds. Really good stuff. No turnovers for Seth either. But here's somebody I got to mention, man, is Elliot Cadeau, because it's one of those things where as loud as the disrespect has been at times for Elliot, and when he's performed poorly, I've been there to criticize with a loud voice. And so I want to stand here and praise with an even louder voice when he has games like tonight and he has games like the Duke game. This is now back-to-back games where Elliot Cadeau has been phenomenal for Carolina. And I mean that. I'm not exaggerating that word at all. I mean, this version of Elliot Cadeau is why Carolina played as well as they did and why they even had a shot against Duke the other night, because he kept them in the game at time. Remember, he hit the only 3 threes Carolina made against Duke. Elliot in this game, 9 points, 4 of 5 from the field, perfect from 3. He had the first 5 points, that blow by, and then finishing over Magoon Guath. And I was like, oh yeah, this dude ain't got it tonight, but Elliot does. And then hit a wing 3 for Carolina's first 3 of the game. As Carolina started, were they 5 of 5, 6 of 6, finished the first half 7 of 9, but 4 different Tar Heels hit the first 4 threes. I mean, it was crazy. But Elliot, again, 9 points, 2 boards, 12 assists, and just 2 turnovers. 6-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. That is why Carolina is doing what they're doing. And it continues to. What I marvel at is the connection that Elliot and Ven-Allen Lubin have. Like, it's been ongoing throughout this stretch. These two guys, man, like, they are connected now. They get each other. They get each other's spacing. They know where they're going to be. And that raises everything. But also, that's not it for Elliot. He had a block, which he blocked with his elbow. I mean, part of that was because the Aztec, I forget who it was, kind of fumbled the ball, and Elliot goes up to block it, and it goes off his elbow. But it's still a block. And here's the other thing. Cadeau, 3 steals, 3 pilfers, 3 takeaways. All of that. By the way, while I'm mentioning steals and takeaways, I forgot to say when we were talking defense, one of the things I had said was Carolina needed to shut down Boyd and Bird, the Boyd-Bird boys, who are the 2 leading scorers, the only scorers for San Diego State in double figures average for the season. And I had there was a whole bunch of San Diego State fans up in the YouTube chat today, which was a lot of fun, especially now. Are y'all still here? I don't hear you saying, oh, Isaac, you've missed this all wrong. These dudes are great. Well, guess what? Nick Boyd got 12 points. 4 of 14 shooting. He needed 14 shots to get to 12 points. 2 of 8 from the field. I mean, whatever. I'll give you 12 points if you need 14 shots to get there. Miles Bird, the other double-figure scorer, 4 points. 1 of 5 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, and 2 of his points were at the free throw line. No, Carolina shut your water off, dude. Y'all shot under 40% for the game, and it would have been even worse had Carolina not just basically fine, whatever at the end of the game. Let's look at the first half. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. San Diego State, 26.7% from the field in the first half, 25% from 3. This is bad offensively, man. I'll take that. Love it. Okay. That's all I want to get to for now. We need to get over to your comments and questions because I know I had already seen before we even started recording, there's a bunch of great stuff to get to. We're going to leave the box score up for those who want to view it. So we'll get to the comments, questions, and all that great stuff coming up in just a second. right after I tell you about our good friends at Fabric. Look, life moves fast, especially when you have a family. One day you're watching your kids take their first steps, and before you know it, man, they're off to college. Where does the time go, right? That's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life makes that simple to get term life insurance that fits your family's needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online right from your couch, and you could be covered in under 10 minutes. And in many cases, you don't even have to have a health exam. As a parent, man, I want to make sure my family is financially protected no matter what happens. Fabric gives me peace of mind, and I love it, man. You can get $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. So protecting your loved ones, it doesn't have to break the bank. Fabric also offers free digital wills and access to investment accounts to help you plan for your children's future. So go ahead, join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Again, that's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions.
The NCAA Tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA Tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Let's get right back into this thing. I'm up at the top of the chat, and we want to see what we're hitting because there was a couple questions that I wanted to grab. I'm just laughing at some of the comments there. Boy, yes. Drew 1986 off the top rope here. I'm West Virginia's governor. I'm suing each of you heels for being better than us. Like we just got to give shout outs to that. I also want to point this out. I noticed this before game and it made me very, very happy. Tar Heel T107 says, they were right this entire time. We didn't deserve to be in the Final Four. That is next level savagery, and I am clapping for you, Tar Heel T107. That's right. This Tar Heels team, their resume maybe suggests they should be sitting here where they are, but to the eye test and what this team actually is and the way they've found themselves over the last now 11 games, they did not deserve to be in the Final Four. And here's what I appreciate now about a game like this. Here's why this game is so big and specific and important. Carolina's 6-game winning streak was against the blah of the ACC, right? Outside, like the only game that people are like, all right, fine, was the game at Florida State. But then Carolina, has a lead against Duke on senior night, but can't hold it, loses by 13. Everybody's like, see, we told you. It's no different. It's just they were playing crappy ACC teams. Well, Carolina then goes to the ACC tournament, Roddles Notre Dame, takes care of Wake Forest. And, it's some of the same, like, fine, whatever. It's Notre Dame. They're not good. But then Carolina against Wake. But the problem is then Duke gets a big lead again. And everybody's like, see, we told you. Carolina makes this run back. And everybody's like, yeah. It doesn't matter all that much, though. Carolina's not going to make the tournament. This game, man, please, can somebody see what just happened and validate these Tar Heels? Can somebody, some national pundit other than me, who is a Tar Heel and a national college basketball person, just please say, I recognize what the Tar Heels are doing, and I can respect that they're a very good basketball team. I just want to hear somebody own up to that. Can somebody please say it? Please. I beg you, man. Come on. Okay. The next thing I want to point out is from our guy, Derek Tyson, and he says this. That game that we just saw kind of reminded me of the Marquette game a few years ago, pure domination. This is a phenomenal call by Derek right here. The game he's referencing is the first round of the NCAA tournament in 2022. Carolina's playing in Fort Worth. I had the great honor of sitting courtside at that game to cover it. I was sitting right by R.L. Bynum from Tar Heel Tribune. We had a great time. Carolina goes out and dominates Shaka Smart's team, who was strong. They had a great team that year. Carolina, to this day, it is the single highest assist percentage in the Hubert Davis era, 70-something%. I can't remember the actual numbers off the top of my head, but that's close enough. And that was the beginning of the indication of like Carolina, literally a couple games before had ended Coach K's career or his regular season, his final home game, went through the ACC tournament. And then Carolina did that to start the NCAA tournament. And I think suddenly warning bells are going off around the nation like, oh, we need to watch out for this Tar Heels team because they're legit here. Wow. Okay. And then Carolina in the same building the next couple of days, 2 days later, dominates reigning national champion and 1 seed Baylor. Now, obviously there was the big Baylor comeback with all the like questionable fouls called against Carolina. Like I'm still incensed by that. Carolina pulls it out in overtime, shouts to former Tar Heel Dontrez Styles for making that 3. We remember you and love you for that, sir. But Derek, this is a great call. Sets Carolina up on a path of hopefully having a great run that is longer than just this one game. What's also great about this win is every win you get in the NCAA tournament counts as a tournament credit where you get millions of dollars over the course of the next 6 years for your conference. And even these play-in games count for that. So good on you, Carolina. T-Man from the Locked On Tar Heels Discord. What's up? T-Man says, hey, Isaac, do you think this game helps us warm up for the next few games we may have and helped us in the long run? I do. And here's why. A lot of times when you play at Dayton, if you play on Tuesday night and you win, you turn around and play on Thursday. That means you got to fly somewhere Wednesday or that night, buckle up, saddle up, and get ready for Thursday. Or if you play Wednesday in the play-in game, you got to do all that, for Friday. Carolina wins this game, is about 6 hours drive time from the next location, right? They're not flying to the West Coast or down to Texas or something like that. And they don't have to play till Friday, and not even early. It's Friday, like late afternoon. So now, I mean, it's not 72 hours, but it's longer than 48 hours before you play again. And you just played a dominant game where nobody even touched 30 minutes. Like all of that is a recipe for, it's kind of a nice little inner squad against the top field goal percentage defense in the nation. That's what Carolina just got. And so now they've already got a game under their belt, but they get some requisite. Think about it. It's like playing on a Wednesday, turn around again and playing on Saturday during the regular season. Like that's nothing. Or Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then playing again on Tuesday. That's the regular routine of the regular season. So we'll take it. We'll absolutely take it. And so, yeah, I think it's absolutely a nice tune-up while other teams are sitting around waiting, twiddling their thumbs. And Carolina is having all of this. Devin21 says, I'm a little worried we spent all our mojo on this game. Ole Miss is no slouch. That's true. What a great game, though. That's similar to what people talked about in the Virginia Tech game leading into the regular season finale against Duke, where it was like Carolina went nuts from beyond the arc and up in Blacksburg. And then Carolina just didn't really have the bullets in the chamber for that regular season finale. So that's that, right? But when you talk to basketball players, they will tell you that's not a thing. I want this to happen, and then I want to keep doing it. Like you don't want to quit playing. And so I get that, while a lot of us may feel like, keep a couple back. Let's hold them back so we have those for friends. Nah, man, keep on trucking. Now, the turnaround, though, is now you got to play Friday, and if you win, you play again on Sunday against a rugged Iowa State team, assuming they win their first round game. So all of that is question as that. Emily, what's up, Emily Von Pocky? She says, which by the way, so Emily always gets to be at like ACC Media Day. She helps volunteer there. And then like at the ACC tournament. So Emily's one of our great Locked On Tar Heels insiders. And so we were messaging back and forth during the ACC tournament and over the weekend. And let's just say we were having some fun at Cooper Flagg's mom's expense. Can we just leave that there? So Emily, I appreciate you so much. Isaac, she says, how do we build on this and go after the next win and the next one and keep on going? I think you just said it. It's about momentum, right? Momentum, particularly this time of year, matters. We often see this in playoffs in any sport. It's about getting it. Like, you just got to get in, which is what Carolina did. Like in Major League Baseball, I don't care if I'm the number 1 seed Dodgers or whomever that's got to buy, or if I'm the last wild card in, if we're playing well, I feel like we're great. We're golden. This Tar Heels team, yes, they have an 11 by their name, but they are the talent and capability of what, like a 4 seed maybe? Yeah. And so now you play an Ole Miss team. Gosh, I want to be. Oh, I just thought about that. Can we just beat the SEC, please? Oh, please, Tar Heels. Can we just dominate Ole Miss? I just thought about that. I'm so tired. Yes, the SEC is really, really strong. But come on, man. Let's do this. So, Emily, the way we build on it is saying, all right, what are the things we did well tonight? Let's continue to build on those. We shared the ball well. We had this was a game of potentially San Diego State being able to control tempo. No. How do we continue to utilize our defense so we can get out and run? Carolina didn't even have to trap tonight. They didn't have to use that press. How do we continue to get good looks for one another? How do we stay connected and communicative defensively? And then how do we clean up some of the things? Because nothing was perfect tonight, right? Like there are always things that you need to tidy up. Because this is now 2 games in a row where Carolina has been bad at holding onto the ball in the first several minutes, right? 6 turnovers in the first 5-ish minutes of this game, a bunch of turnovers against Duke on Friday in the ACC semis. It didn't hurt you tonight because Carolina was shooting well. It might not even hurt you against Ole Miss. But as you keep going down the road to Iowa State or Michigan State or Auburn or whomever you might encounter, they're going to beat that, right? And so Carolina's got to clean those things up early. So that's some of what you build on is what did we do well and clean that up? What did we do poorly and learn from it? All right, guys, we got to get out of here. It's after 12:30. I've still got to record Locked On College Basketball for tomorrow and a couple other things as well. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to read through the rest of your comments, anything that we need from that. What we're going to do is the full Wednesday show is actually going to be live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Right back here on YouTube or audio. If you're listening, that it'll be in the audio later. But man, if you want to recap this more and then just start to think ahead and look ahead a little bit toward Ole Miss, we'll start to turn the corner slightly there. On Thursday's show, Coach Pat Kilby is going to be with me for that. On Friday's show, Coach Bill Robinson's going to be with me as we get ready for the Ole Miss game. I've already talked to Stephen Willis, who's the host at Locked On Ole Miss. We're going to do a crossover ahead of the Ole Miss game, so get ready for that. He does a great job with Ole Miss, and so that's going to be a fun conversation as well. Guys, so good to be together. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've not already subscribed to Locked On Tar Heels on video and audio, make sure you do that now so that you don't miss a second of what we do when we go live. Hit that bell notification so that it lets you know, hey, Locked On Tar Heels, new episode coming out right now, and you can tap right in here with us. If you've not joined the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, man, that's a great place with hundreds and hundreds of Tar Heels fans. You're not going to want to miss out on that. That link's in the show notes. And if you want to be an insider like Emily is and several great others, man, that link is in the show notes as well. Gives you access, direct access to me so we can message back and forth. I will be sending out as we get into portal season, which opens next Monday. Every rumor I hear, I'm going to be dropping into there. And you get free access to all of my stats and charts and data as a Locked On Tar Heels insider. Guys, can we remember what just happened? The Tar Heels just obliterated one of the nation's elite defenses, made them look like a junior high team. More of that, please, on Friday, right? It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again tomorrow, but until then, peace.